Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the German Tier 7 Tech Tree Heavy Tank, the Tiger P. Now if you do like the video, as always, please don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yeah, the Tiger P. It's a really old school tank. It used to be that there was only two Tiger variants in the game, and that was the Tiger 1 and the Tiger P, the Porsche version of the Tiger. It's got more frontal armour than a standard Tiger has. It's got 200mm of armour on the upper plate, with the lower plate being uncovered by... Basically what they did was they bolted 100mm steel plates to the front of the Tiger, and thus you got the Tiger P. And it's got two weak spots on it that are on the front that make the armour, extra little bits of armour you got from the Tiger 1, completely pointless. And that is the cheeks that you can just see the corner of right now as we're driving. Great driving me, as we see a rock. And the lower plate, which is really, really easy to pen. You also have a giant cupola, which is exceptionally easy to pen yet again on the old Tiger P, which is a sad, sad time for it. But granted, that cupola did get buffed a long time ago, which is actually quite nice for it, because they buffed it from like 60mm or 70mm up to 125, which is still not very much at all, and it still gets penned easily, but it just stops derp guns like KV2's penning your cupola, which used to happen all the time, which was really frustrating. The Tiger P's got that phenomenal 80mm gun that you get on the Tiger 1. It's got 240 damage with 203mm of penetration, 237mm of APCR penetration, which is really quite nice. You are pretty slow in the Tiger P, though. You've got 35km/h top speed, which you sort of struggle along to, which is why you'll need to take off-road driving to negate the pretty horrible ground resistances you've got to be able to hit that top speed. And then you've got 486 meters of view range, which is really quite nice for a heavy tank at tier 7. It means you're not quite blind, with a pretty decent reload of 5.1 seconds for that 240 alpha with a food boost, or 5.5, sorry, with out the food boost. You got 1000 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP rounds, with a 1250 meters a second shell velocity on the APCR rounds, which is really good velocity on this 88mm as well, which is definitely great for the Tiger P. The one thing that's slightly different to all the other Tigers, though, for the Tiger P, is that you do lack an extra degree of gun depression, in the fact that your gun depression is only 6 degrees of gun depression, which can be very awkward at times, because you are quite a tall tank in the Tiger P, and it just means that, yeah, you are fairly awkward getting your gun down on target at certain points. Now, there is something else with the Tiger P that happens quite a lot, and that is you get set on fire. If you get shot through the lower plate, you tend to get set on fire in this tank, so bear in mind that it is a fire catcher. You've got to be very, very careful of that as well as it getting shot in the back end and damaging the engine. That tends to set it on fire too. It's a really, really sad time for the Tiger P, that as well. It is one of the worst Tiger variants out there, and it's just one that you tend to kind of try and get through. The only good thing about the Tiger P for me over the other Tigers is the fact that you do get that extra 100mm of armour, and that gives you a bit of leeway every now and then to poke round corners, angle up, and you will actually bounce far more than you will in the other Tigers, like against that T71DA, for example. If we were in a standard Tiger, he probably would have just penned us easily, but in a Tiger P, we're not auto-aim pennable like the other Tigers are, so you can actually ricochet shots off that front plate. As long as they're not aiming properly and aim for your lower plate / the cheeks, you'll be okay for that. So in terms of a crew on the Tiger P, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanics, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, and Off-Road Driving. Off-Road Driving to help the ground resistances on this tank, because they are very old school ground resistances, and they do hold the top speed of the tank back a little bit too much at times. The 3 gun perks to make sure this good is as good as it humanly can be. Track Mechanic to get the tracks back on if we do get tracked, because it does have very big drive wheels that are very easy to take off. And the other 4 perks are what I would take in general and every other tank in World War II. And then in terms of equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, the Gun Laying Drive, and Optics, because that is one thing that is a little bit annoying on this tank, is that the aim time is quite long at 2.9 seconds. It's one of the worst aim times out of the Tigers, so you really want to try and make that better if you can. So that's why I run the GLD over something like vents or the traction system to go faster, etc, etc. I just run the GLD because the aim time is really long, and it's really nice to be able to get that down so you can at least get the shots on target as quickly as possible. The advanced loader to make sure that DPM is 10% better, and optics to be able to spot for myself, because I can get it up to that 486 meters of view range, which is fantastic. So we're on the first game, and the first game we've managed to get 2.1k damage so far, make that 2.3k damage so far with 4 kills, and we are on this map, which is Serene. We try and get a shot into the Skoda T25 there, but sadly it misses. Just looking for a shot into the KV-13, who does break our gun, but doesn't pen us. Looking for the shot into his turret front again, and we're just bouncing these guys, because these guys don't have the best penetration. They do have to hit our cupola and or our lower plate / cheeks to pen it. I was just being mindful of that heavy tank that's above me on the ridge, because I was thinking, is he trying to jump on me? I don't want to be surprised by a big flying tank. That would be a bad time for me. And you can see I'm just watching it going, what's it doing? What's the 45 TP doing? But okay, he hasn't tried to jump on us. We're up to 3.3k damage with 5 kills, and we are going to turn to try and get rid of this full health Polish tier 7 heavy tank if we can. He is currently not bothered about me apparently, because he is shooting at everyone else, which means we're going to get up alongside him and shoot him. He is stock, because he's got the stock turret and the 90mm gun, which means he's got pretty damn good DPM actually, which we've got to be careful of, but that means he doesn't have the best penetration in the universe. So we've just got to try and keep working him over as much as possible. We went for the shot into the lower plate, but sadly the shot went to the right and tracked him only. We go for the lower plate this time, and we're just slowly but surely working this guy down. He is still sat in a position, because he's just aiming for our cupola, he's still sat in a position we can get him. He's now 267 hit points, and he rams himself to death on us. It's like, thank you so much for feeding me my top gun, Mr. 45 TP. That was so kind of you. And we're on to 6 kills with 4.5k damage. There's only 1 tank left on the enemy team. And, well, we know exactly where they are. They're in the cap. And at this point, I'm not sure why they bother to cap. It happens quite often where you see it, and I don't know if it's because they get confused by the cap circles at the top. But at the minute, the KV-3 is sat in our cap, which means he's telling the world exactly where he is. But there's 1 minute and 10 seconds until he can win by cap. But we're in their cap, and there's 40 seconds left. What's the point of sitting in the cap at this point? Like, it's one of those things that you see all of the time, that they just stay in the cap no matter what. You don't get any extra XP for staying in the cap unless you win by base cap. So it's one of those things of you may as well have come out and gone to a better position to be able to defend yourself from the people attacking. Because this KV-3 is still in a position where we know exactly where he was and we could get shots at him. But sadly, we did end up ricocheting because we fired just before we were fully aimed. And this tank does take forever to aim, and this is why I run the GLD. But he's staying behind that rock, and we are going to cap, which means that we're not going to get any more damage on this KV-3, and that's the end of the game for the Tiger P here on Serene. We finished the game with a really nice total for the Tiger P. We finished with the victory. We've come top of the team, 6 kills, 4,500 damage, 2.2k blocks, ace tanker, top gun, the high caliber, the steel wall, with 2,076 base XP. A really nice game there for the Tiger P on Serene, which is always a good time. And yeah, the Tiger P is one of those tanks that it's just because of little factors thrown together. The fact that you have 6 degrees of gun depression, the fact that you're quite a tall tank, the 2.9 second aim time base, which is longer than the other Tigers, the mobility being slower than the other Tigers as well, because you've got a 35 km/h top speed, as opposed to the others that get like 40 km/h top speed, and generally hit that as well. Like, the Tiger P is just the worst out of the variants, sadly. The only thing it's got that's going for it is the fact that once you do get this gun aimed in, this lovely 88mm gun, it does sing and it does fly, and the DPM is still pretty good as well at 5.1 seconds. But yeah, it is actually the worst out of all of the Tiger variants. So we're on to the second replay. In the second replay, we're in a tier 8 game, and we're on this map, which is Overlord. Do not go to the beach on Overlord. I'm going to say it every single time I get a map of Overlord and make a video on it. Do not go to the beach on Overlord, because it is really easy to lose the game if you go to the beach on Overlord, because of just how easy it is to farm the beach from the cliffs. If you see a massive glut of enemy team on the beach, you can literally go to any point along the beach and just shoot down on them, and there is very little hope of them ever getting shots back at you, and you can farm their living daylights out, which is just generally what happens. But we've come to the place where heavy tanks tend to brawl on this little corner. We've got a nice shot into the drive wheel of the defender. We are firing APCR because that's what we need. And unfortunately, the shot just deviates and hits the upper plate of the defender. But he just keeps driving out in front of us like, okay, Mr. Defender, if you want to give me shots into your drive wheel, I will quite happily keep you tracked. And he's already repaired his drive wheel as well. So we're getting all the tracking assist here, keeping him pinned. And it's like, just don't shoot me. He fires again, which means, yep, we've got this guy dead if we hit him. And there we go. We'll finish off the defender there. And we're up to 1,017 damage with all that damage on the tier 8 Soviet heavy tank. They've moved into the dip on there. And oh, the Tiger P gun misses again. Oh, come on. This gun honestly feels... when it's fully aimed, it's fine. But even if you're not ever so slightly aimed, it just loves to miss. And it's so frustrating. It's one of those things that the gun feels so much nicer on the other Tiger variants, and it's really sad sometimes on this Tiger P. And we miss again on the Tiger 1 as we had his upper plate. There is a TD back there that is putting shots into us, but I really want to help this T-34-3 out if I can. So we just decide, okay, I might take the hit, but I'm going to make the cross, get the shots into the Tiger 1, which gets rid of our other German brother. Get a shot into the Chi-Ri, sorry, which puts him down to a one-shot, and we finish the Chi-Ri off. Chi-Ri-O, my friend. Ha! Oh dear, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. So, there are 6 tanks left on the enemy team. We know where one is at G0 because he's spotted, and there's definitely a tank destroyer down there somewhere where we're aiming towards their base. So we just pop a blind shot towards the building, because we never know, we might have hit it, might not do, but we don't hit anything. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to push into the middle so that we can push straight towards their base to see if we can get a shot into it. We are looking for a shot into the CDC, which we get in. And I'm pretty confident I'm not going to get shot by the thing at the back because it's clearly shooting our other teammates. We get a shot into the side of the CDC again, putting him down to 273 hit points. It's a T-28 prot that's at the back, and the KV-3 shuts down the AMX CDC. And you can see what's happened to the beach, by the way. They sent about 4, 5, 6 tanks to the beach, and our guys stayed on the cliffs and farmed them, and thus they lost. That's what happens on Overlord. Do not go to the beach. But we know there's 2 tanks left. There's the heavy tank on the beach that's now being closed down by all the guys that have dropped down onto the beach to get it, and there is the T-28 prototype, who is knocking around somewhere over here. We know he's over here somewhere because he's shot at me earlier on, and he's shot at my friends. Therefore, he's got to be somewhere over here. Either that or he's retreated down the K line to get into the little dip at K4, which is what happens sometimes as well. So we're just trying to get there and see if we can find the guy, which we actually do. It's like, hello, Mr. T-28 prototype. Good to see you, my friend. Let me just get some shots into your tracks and pen you, please. That would be very, very kind. He drives into a position that gives us his side. Sadly, our APCR round actually bounces. The reason I've loaded the APCR round is it gives me the chance of going through his turret front if I get lucky. We do finally pen the side, though, and he shuts down our KV-3. He's not bothered about me, though. He's driven out to chase after our medium tank. I track him in place, wait for him to drive around to give us another drive wheel shot, which we do. We track him and pen him, and he is pinned, wait for the reload, and shut down that Tier 8 American tank destroyer. And we finished the game with a really nice total for the Tiger P again in a Tier 8 game. We finished with the epic victory, 5 kills, 3.5k damage, 664 assistance, ace tanker, with 2.1k base XP. A really nice game there for the Tiger P. It's definitely the worst out of all the Tiger variants, but you can still do pretty well in it, as you've seen. And yes, the Tiger P, it's a proper old school tank. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.